Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm Fall. 60 FPS versus ray tracing in Control. That's the topic for this video today. Enjoy. If you are a lucky PlayStation 5 owner, maybe one of the 5,600 people worldwide, and if you're a PlayStation Plus member, then you can grab Control in the PlayStation Plus library. Even more, this is the ultimate version and you can choose between nice and smooth 60 FPS and 30 FPS. Let's take a quick look in the display settings in the option menu, and by default we have brightness level set to 50. We have the graphic mode, performance and graphics. The difference is performance is targeting 60 FPS, no ray tracing. The graphic mode is targeting 30 FPS with higher graphical details and of course ray tracing. Then we have activated by default film grain and motion blur. And the first thing what I'm going to do is deactivating motion blur and film grain, because I personally don't like this at all. And for now I will stick with the performance mode and we do some testing. During the whole time when I played the 60 FPS mode, I was not able to find any issue with the frame rate. No VSync issue, no frame pacing issue, no frame time issue. I was not able to feel or discover any hiccup. It is really just moving or playing very smooth. Really nice 60 FPS with great response from the inputs. Really nice to play and my favorite mode at this very moment. Control in 30 FPS feels a little bit laggy compared to the 60 FPS mode. I mean, of course, we just have half of the frame rate, but I played a lot of games in 30 FPS on my PlayStation 4, like Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us 2. So, and Ghost of Tsushima was one of the best 30 FPS games what I ever played on the PlayStation 4 Pro. The Last of Us 2, on the other hand, has had a very bad 30 FPS implementation, and unfortunately the same counts for Control. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks like it's steady 30 FPS, but the stuttering and the blurring out, this is very, I don't know how to describe it, but this looks like a lot of stuttering and it still looks like there's maybe motion blur activated. Even I have disabled it in the menu, and when I'm turning this on, of course it's get even worse and you can't read anything. Even you're moving very slow, the background is blurring out very heavily. So I don't like this effect at all. I don't really like it. So 30 FPS mode, if we're just focusing on the frame rate, 30 versus 60 FPS, there is a clear winner in my opinion right now in Control. Okay, so let's take a closer look on the visual differences between the performance and the graphical mode, and I'm not talking about ray tracing now. We're just focusing on resolution, shadow quality, aliasing, stuff like that. And I had a very hard time to find the difference. It looks like the resolution is exactly the same in performance and graphical mode. Also, level of detail looks exactly the same. The aliasing, and we have some aliasing, or especially on sharp edges like this. So that's the performance mode at the moment. And you can clearly see some aliasing is going on also on her hair and the fine details from her hair. And when I'm changing this into the this graphic mode, then it is exactly the same picture. There is no difference at all. And I'm not going to do a side-by-side comparison and zoom 400 times in, because maybe we can find something, but that's not the point. That's not how it works. You know, if I can't see a big difference between two modes from 50 centimeters away from my TV, and usually I'm sitting away 2 meters, then there is no difference, okay, in my opinion, okay? What I found on the other hand is we have a different resolution in shadow quality. So, but it's also a very minor thing, so it's nothing actually where you can get excited. So that's the graphical mode, and what we have in the graphical mode is a little bit of better resolution in terms of the shadow quality. Also, when we're talking about shadow quality on her skin, on her clothes at the moment, it is a little bit, looks like a little bit of a higher resolution compared to the performance mode what we have now, but this is very minor, okay? So it looks really The only difference between performance and graphic mode is of course 60 FPS and then 30 FPS plus ray tracing. So let's talk about ray tracing, and I have to admit I'm a big fan of ray tracing when it looks good. So in a couple of games I have experienced this so far, like Spider-Man Miles Morales looks really nice to ray tracing. Also in Watch Dogs on the PC, if you have a high-end system, it looks really nice. Unfortunately, in Control on the PlayStation 5, I don't think so. This is the ray tracing mode at the moment, 30 FPS mode, and this is what you get when you activate ray tracing, and in my opinion it looks not very nice. All the ray tracing effects or animations or mirroring or whatever you call this, it looks like a very low resolution compared, and I will do this now, when we change this to the performance mode, it looks much cleaner in my opinion. It looks better resolution wise, and yeah, the whole appearance of the picture, it is just nicer and cleaner compared to the ray tracing mode. Also, what I found when we're talking about ray tracing, that the animations are looking a little bit weird. So, and I hope I can explain it what I mean. So this is ray tracing mode, and we have this nice, yeah, low res ray tracing mirror effect from these lights here on the floor, and it is really low res in my opinion, okay? So, but what I don't like, or what is a little bit weird, is when you move around here and you stop, the animation is still going on. The animation is not finished, so it takes a couple of milliseconds till this picture here, or the ray tracing effects or animation, will stop. And this is with all the animation and every single part of the game when it comes to ray tracing. And I'm not sure what I should think about this, because it looks just weird to me. It really just looks weird to me. Doesn't make sense to me, because I'm already stopping, you know, I'm releasing the controller, but this is still going on. And compared to the performance mode, when we have nothing, you know what I mean? It just looks better to me. Okay, let me find another example. Another example for ray tracing in Control on the PlayStation 5. This scene at the moment, graphical mode, we have here this ray tracing, mirroring from those papers on this glass wall. And it's the same behavior like in the example before. When you move and you stop, the animation is still going on, which looks absolutely weird to me. And I have to say, this is very low resolution. So you barely can't see anything, you just can guess that this is actually pointing to this one. It doesn't look very nice to me, so there's some resolution missing. But of course we have to consider PlayStation 5, yeah, it is a powerful machine, but compared with other graphic cards, and you know, even high-end graphic cards struggling with to keep 60 FPS with ray tracing in a good quality. So yeah, it is something we need to consider. I mean, PlayStation, yeah, powerful, but for ray tracing, there is a little bit power missing, it looks like, yeah. This, on the other hand, is the performance mode, which looks much cleaner. And with cleaner, I mean, it just looks natural, normal to me, okay? So there's no ray tracing at all. You move around. First of all, of course, 60 FPS is so much better. And there is no animation, no delay from an animation, nothing, and you still have this little effects from mirrors or from shiny objects on the floor. The same for this one here. This is also very nice. So I'm just switching back to show you this again. This is ray tracing, and compared to the performance mode, no, I would stick with the performance mode over ray tracing anytime. Okay, so time for a quick summary. Control on the PlayStation 5, performance versus graphical mode. And for me, there's just one option how to play this game, and this is the performance mode with film grain disabled and motion blur disabled. So my thinking is, my opinion is, if you play a game with 60 FPS and more, you don't need motion blur, okay? It still looks like there's some kind of motion blur activated in the background. I'm not sure about this, but it still looks a little bit blurry compared to other games with the 60 FPS mode, but maybe that's just the style from this game. Anyway, ray tracing in Control on the PlayStation 5, to be very honest, it is not a very nice implementation. I experienced ray tracing on my PC with my 3070, which is not the high-end graphic card. And I found ray tracing in some games very nice, in other games too much, to be honest. And also what I found, my 3070 is not fast enough to display all the games in 60 FPS in 4K. 1440p, yes, fine, but 4K, forget it, okay? So we need to consider this when we're talking about ray tracing on the consoles. You can't compare the consoles with a high-end graphic card. We're talking about a complete different price region, so this is not fair actually to compare this game or the ray tracing effects with a high-end graphic card like the 3090. It is not fair at all, because you pay, I don't know, 4 times or 5 times more in Australia for the 3090 compared to the PlayStation 5. I mean, the only good thing is you can buy a 3090, you can't buy a PlayStation 5, of course. Sorry to say this. Anyway, I don't like the ray tracing effects in this game at all. I think the low resolution, not nice to look on it, and also I don't like the delayed animation from ray tracing. It just looks very weird to me, okay? So I stick with the 60 FPS mode. So just put in the comments what you think about ray tracing mode in this game, what you think about the 60 FPS mode. If you have experienced any issues so far with in terms of frame rate issues in the 60 FPS mode, because so far I couldn't find any issue at all, and this is very good, because we have experienced a couple of games lately which had some frame times issue, frame packaging issues, and so on. So I'm very happy that this game is bug free. Perfectly playable in 60 FPS, and I still think it looks very nice. And this is the mode I would always prefer over the 30 FPS ray tracing mode, okay? So that's for me today for this video. I say thank you very much for watching me in this video. And yeah, as always, if you're new to my channel, just subscribe, please. You would do me a very big favor. And yeah, leave me a comment, leave me a like, tell me what you think about this game, tell me what you think about my video, about this video. And yeah, I see you next time, okay? Take care, bye.